Hello everyone, today we'll be going over a 27 LR LE. This is a XLR Micro Boost. This is a 2021 model. Toyota hauler by XLR. So I'm going to go around and explain everything the best I can. If I miss anything, if you have questions on anything, you can always give us a call. And there's tons of information on YouTube. First we'll start with the water heater here. 1.1/8" socket on your anode rod. This is also your drain plug. Over time this will deteriorate, so this will have to be replaced, but you should get a season to 2 seasons out of this depending on how much you use it. So anytime you're going to remove this plug, make sure to hit this pressure release valve just by opening this up. Once you relieve the pressure, then go ahead and remove that anode rod to drain. As your first time filling, once you get the rod in, go ahead and open this here again, your pressure valve. Because a lot of times an air pocket will form and it only fills the water heater up so far. So if you just go ahead and open that up, it's going to bleed that air pocket out. Once you have water coming out of your spigot here, you know that you're good to turn your electric on. So right here is your electric switch. So only turn that on unless you have water in your tank. And then you're going to have an LP switch on the inside of the unit, which I'll show you here in a minute. Here you have 2 resets. They will push out at you if it ever were to trip. I haven't seen that happen, so it doesn't happen very often. So this here's your furnace exhaust. I highly suggest getting mud dauber screens. Mud dauber wasps are attracted to the burning LP smell, so they go in here and make a nest. I've also found frogs and mice in here, so little critters do find their way up in there. Here we have hookups for an outdoor TV. You got a power outlet and a coax hookup. And then here is your TV mount. Here we have a stovetop vent. It has 2 little tabs here that you'll pop open. When you're cooking your bacon or fish or something like that. And then when you're done, just go ahead and snap the 2 tabs back closed. Do have outdoor speakers on your radio. You'll have a zone 1 and 2, for indoor and outdoor speaker use. And here we have a spray port. So you'll have a hose that'll hook to that so you can spray off toys or anything like that. Here we have your low point drain, which are right here on 2 valves. It's kind of hard to see here, but it's right underneath the sticker here, right underneath this metal. So low points are the excess water in the lines themselves. The only time we're going to use these low points is for winterizing and dewinterizing. Or if you had a water leak somewhere, you could run all the water out of the lines by opening those up. Awning here. As you see, we ran this out until our flap is hanging straight down. That's when you know to stop. When you're done, just make sure to hit the retract button. If you keep holding the extend button, it will wind itself up backwards, which puts a lot of stress on your fabric seam. To adjust your awning arms or your pitch, to set your pitch, you're just going to simply push in and tighten this knob down, and that's how you're going to set the pitch. So when you're ready to retract, just make sure to loosen that knob back up and you'll be good to go. It does have a little leash hookup for your pet or your dog. 2 doors, so a garage entrance and a main entrance. These do have locks on them, so you can padlock this shut, both sides. This unit is pre-wired for a backup camera. So they sell 2 backup cameras. This is a Furrion, but they sell 2. One's a backup camera and then one's an observation. I would suggest getting the observation, that way you can see behind you at all times while traveling. It's nice for lane changing. Do have a vent here. For when you're traveling with toys in the unit, you can ventilate any fuel smells. Here we have your sewer connections. Black handle is your black tank. Gray handle is your gray tank. Make sure to keep up on your chemicals, and you're only using single ply toilet paper. Your Charmin Ultra isn't going to break down quick enough, so it'll get hung up on one of your gauges. In your tank you have 4 gauges, you know, empty, 1/3, 2/3 full. Once it's in the tank, it will get hung up on one of those gauges, so once you empty it, it'll read, you know, 2/3 when you know it's empty. So that's a common issue, and that's because people aren't using their chemicals or using single ply toilet paper. So I missed it. And this here is where we're gonna hook our shore power up at. So it is a 30 amp service. And you also have scissor jacks. You will have a crank for these. Also a 3/4 inch socket on a drill works really well. You're to get the unit level with the front tongue jack and then stabilize with your scissor jacks. You have 2 more up front here. This unit does have a black tank flush. So I'd use this as much as possible. Inside your black tank, you'll have a sprayer that sprays around, knocking things down, keeping that tank clean. So try to use that as much as you can. When you are using this, make sure to have your black pole valve open. You want it going right in and right out. And then here we have our water hookups. City water, that's going to be constant pressure throughout. And then fresh water connection, that's going to be filling our potable tank. And then right here we have cable and satellite inputs, which will be dispersed throughout. Also, we have our freshwater drain here, which is on this pole valve there. Be aware the water does come out really quickly, so pull it and get out of the way or else you might get wet. Those are really nice. No more waiting an hour and a half for your fresh tank to drain. So we got some storage up front here too. Very nice unit. Tongue jack here. You'll have an up and a down, and then a light here for hooking up. Also right here, inside here, you will have a spot to manually crank your tongue jack. There, your LP tanks here. Right here is your regulator. So right now that point is facing this tank, so we're sucking from that tank. Once that tank's empty, we're gonna go ahead and flip that around. Now we're sucking from this tank. So then you can go get that other one filled. Brand new battery, interstate battery. And then here you got a battery disconnect. So make sure to use this, you know, anytime you're gonna be letting the unit sit for a period of time. Try to have your battery fully charged and then kill it. Oh, this is locked too. But yeah, pass through storage all the way through. I think that's it for the outside. We'll head in here. Right here we have a couple light switches. One's going to be for the main area here, and then this one here is going to be for our awning lights. And then we have our awning extend and retract, and our slide out in and out. So always make sure to run your slide outs fully in and fully out. You have 2 sets of seals and you always want to stay sealed. Here we have our hot water heater LP switch, and then our water pump switch for that fresh water tank or for winterizing. Here's our gauge. You're just going to press each one individually to get your reading. Battery, fresh tank, black tank, gray tank. So as you're filling that potable water, come in and check your gauge here. Just keep clicking it and then you'll see 1/3 will light up, 2/3 will light up. So very nice layout here. This will break down into a bed as well. The table legs just come out and the tabletop will rest on the wood edge here. And then you just put the cushions accordingly. Do have some lights here too. And then there we have our bed. A little closet area there. Some storage up top. Here we have our fireplace. I was really impressed by how much heat these things put out. I mean, you can literally heat this whole camper pretty much with just this here. If you gave you enough time, obviously, but I mean, these things really work well. You do have a switch here. If you want to run your Fireplace, you have to have that switch down on Fireplace, and if you're going to run your AC, you just flip this up, and now we're going to be powering our AC. Here's our radio. You can Bluetooth to this, you can hook up an aux cord. Then also, like I said, you'll have your speaker zones 1 and 2, which is up top on the top left buttons there. So press and hold to shut the radio off. This here is your LP detector that's constantly running, so if you're not going to be using the unit, make sure to hit that battery disconnect, because this guy here is going to be slowly running that battery down. Nice stovetop here. We do have 2 light switches here. One up top is just these lights, and then the bottom switch is for oven light as well. Stovetop fan and light. Microwave, pretty self-explanatory. Fridge here. Very spacious. Right here you'll have a dial to adjust your temperature. And this is a 12-volt fridge. Here we have all your breakers. Everything's labeled here. And then all your 12-volt stuff's here labeled. These are all your fuses. So I'd suggest grabbing like a little multi-pack of fuses for just in case. Looks like you're just going to have 15s and 30s in here. Something that happens quite a bit is people, they'll hook up their battery wrong on accident, put the positive on the negative, negative on the positive, which will blow these 2 fuses here. So these are kind of like your mains for your 12-volt side. So when they hook the battery up the right way, they realize they don't have power, and this is usually the issue right here, these 2 fuses. So just in case if ever happened. Thermostat here, pretty easy. We're just gonna hit this mode button. It's kind of hard to see. So we got fan low, fan high, cool low auto, cool high auto. That's usually what I'd run the AC on there. I'm just gonna turn on for a second. And then to switch to furnace, you're just gonna hit to heat there. And that's gonna fire up the furnace for us. But I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off. It will run for a second for a cooling cycle, even though it didn't heat up. This here is your GFI. So anytime if you didn't have power to any of your outlets, come and check this GFI, make sure that wasn't tripped. Nice vanity here. Shower. And then this here is our garage. So you can have 2 separate beds here. So this unit is also pre-wired for solar. So if you were gonna do this, there is a package that you could buy that comes with the solar panels and solar controller. And the install is pretty easy. You just cut out this line here for our monitor panel here to go in, our controller, which will tell us our battery levels, what we're receiving for power, all that. And the wires are already in the wall here. So you're gonna plug those in, and then up on your roof, there's already hookups for you to plug in a solar panel. So, I mean, it's pretty easy install, really. Here we have another spot for a TV if you wanted. They have a backer right here, so make sure to feel for it if you were gonna install a TV here. And then your vents here, you just push them. So you'll have one there and then one down in the bottom right corner there. So, I don't have room to run the gates out right now, but I mean, they're really easy. You just pull the one out, snap it into the right top corner here on that mount there. And then also you'd snap the other side to that mount there. and then the 2 doors will connect in the middle. Right here. So I believe that is it for my show through. Like I said, if I missed anything, if you have questions on anything, you're more than welcome to give us a call and we'll be happy to help. Thank you.